I don't have to worry about where I'm going to sleep at night. I don't have to worry about losing my job. I don't have to worry about access to my health care or getting the hormones that I need or anything else. And so when I put it in terms of that, I think I have to spend time and think about if I removed those things, if I removed my support circle, my family is 100% behind me, if I removed all that, if I removed the friends, if I removed the queer job that I have, what would life look like for me? And when I think about it in those terms, I guess the question that I'm struck with is, what would the list look like tonight that we read if we added to it the list of names of people who are no longer with us, not because they were brutally murdered, not because they even committed suicide, but because they gave up their lives to drugs, alcohol, a variety of things to try to help themselves get by that have destroyed their lives. I have a feeling it would be much, much, much longer. And it's also just difficult for me to think about what it's like if I had chosen never to leave the rural Georgia town that I lived in. You know, I'm very fortunate in the fact that I just knew which doctor to go to. I knew who to ask to go to see. And I think that there's so many people who don't have that luxury, and those who do take the courageous steps to do what they need to do to transition, and even when they do those things in hostile environments, and they end up on these lists.
In thinking about the Transgender Day of Remembrance and hearing the other speakers that have spoken before me, I'm moved to reflect on experience that I have had just in this last week in speaking with some of my colleagues doing work from around the country. And we all can learn. We all must always be open to learning. Part of what I realized just too recently is that for far too long, we, I think, have had some of the wrong priorities in the LGBT community and in our struggle. We often talk in gay and lesbian and bisexual rights terms that we should have the freedom to love the person we wish to love. But what is even more basic as a human right but the right to be who you feel you truly are, beyond labels, beyond descriptions, and beyond specific expectations? That is what the trans movement aspires to be. Imagine how much further our cause for liberation and human rights would be if over the last 40 years we had focused attention unapologetically at saying we refuse to be defined by what society says are gender roles and gender expectations. Imagine where we as a movement might be if we had held steadfast to the principles that it's not just our relationships, but it's our inner self that is so important. We've come a long way. We will go further. But it is so important that we must understand that even those of us who don't identify as trans have benefited by the struggles, the courage, and the willingness to fight back from those who are. For they are the people that have been always on the vanguard of our movement. The people that have, in many ways, been ignored for their leadership, that have pushed and pulled the rest of us forward.